What is going on, YouTube? Mox Opal back with a kind of a review. We're not doing an RDA today. We're kind of taking a look at the Hammer of God V3. Need a little cleaning. It is a fingerprint magnet. A lot of people ask, like, what the hell's a Hammer of God? A lot of people know about mech mods, but like, say Hammer of God, it's not something that's like known unless you're an older kind of build kind of head and an older vapor. Because Hammer of God's been out for a little bit, because you got like V1, V2, V3, you got XL, you got a one with a DNA chip. But it's the same thing as all the other ones, basically, just different color and different size. Like the V3 takes 4 batteries, same as the other one, but 18650 batteries. To where like a V4 is XL, so it's a little bit taller, a little bit wider, and it takes 4 21700 batteries. And it has a few different other colors. Like standard, if you look on most websites, standard, you're going to get like black with the what they call white. I call it silver, honestly, because it shines just like silver, not white. Or you'll get like the black and the gold, or you'll get full white with black emblem. But some like the other ones that are going to cost a little bit more is going to be like, say, red and blue. There are a few different other like colors, like full red, it's called like a wine red, a full blue that's kind of like a frosty blue, there's a full gold for the V3, there's even splatters, there's a like OD green kind of looking like color, even the acid one that you see, the purple one that has like pink and blue splatter, or even purple with white and black splatter, or even a V3 that's the stone, suicide stone, which is actually a fairly nice one. But it's just a square surface all the way around, square, one button. Serial number, which oddly enough, mine's 2007, almost like it's trying to tell me a year, but yeah, serial number of 2007. It's a 42 by 42 millimeter square base on top, fully mechanical, 94 millimeters tall, 42 by 42, which is the width, and the depth is 42, with batteries. Weighs about 190 grams. Like, it fits in the hand perfectly. Like, it's big, but it's not big. Like a lot of the vapors now will be like, oh, it's too big, it's too heavy. But like us old school people, and some of the newer school people, love this thing. It's fully mechanical. Alright, and being 42 millimeters, like across, as you can see, like I've got some dorky ass looking 22 millimeter setup on here. Well, 22 or 24. And it's not too bad. Like, I had a Fat Buddha on it, and the Fat Buddha actually is 30 millimeter, and still you got quite a bit of room. You could put a 40 millimeter Valhalla on this thing, and it still has actually got a couple millimeters of space, and it still fires like a dream. Now, the other thing that actually comes along with it that I got is it comes in, which I don't have the box on me, it's put up actually on the shelf, but comes from Vapor Clouds. There's a lot of other websites that sell it, but normally they buy it from Vapor Clouds and they send it to you, because it's kind of almost an exclusive thing, but this is like a big warning thing. It's intended usage for 18 years or older. I agree. In which we're going to go over this whole thing, that way, you know, some people kind of get like an aspect of it, basically. This product is used at your own risk. This product is intended used by vapors with experience of rebuildable vapors for at least 3 years or more. With how this is, and as much power as actually what this thing pushes out, like, on the drop of a dime, pushes that power out. No matter what, it's mechanical. There is no regulated to it. There is no chip. There is no screen. There is no nothing. I would say if you want to get into something that's like really RDA, old school, and just mechanically, and got to worry about like a regulated mod with a chip and a screen and all that shit, and you just want straight power, I would go with it, but make sure you got experience first, especially with mech mods and rebuildables. Do not use this product around children of ages 17 and younger. 17-year-olds, you shouldn't be vaping anyways, unless you're 18, depending on the state. Here in Michigan, you're not even supposed to buy cigarettes or vape unless you're 21 anyways, to change that anyways. Only use this product while in conjunction with another Vapor Cloud's LLC product. Basically, they're trying to say buy a Vapor Cloud RDA and put it on there. You don't have to. That's just them kind of being like, hey, you know, because back then, everything most likely came from Vapor Clouds anyways, like the Fat Buddha, the El Cabron that I have on there, like even the Mad Hatter. The good RDAs back in the day were Vapor Clouds. That was the big name company. Do not use this product without using authentic high amp rated batteries. Yes, if you are going to use this, and means that it's 4, like old school, know your Ohm's law. Also know that you need to have 4 batteries that are married that are the same exact. So if I've got, like this here, 2500 milliamp battery, which I wrap all my batteries, because I don't like the other goofy solid colors. Which I have another battery sitting up here somewhere. But, actually, there's a couple. 2500, 3500. Do not mix a 2500 with a 3500 inside of it. Make sure, say, like, if you want to go 2500s, all 4 are 2500s that are inside of it. Make sure they're all the same exact battery. Basically, when you go to buy some batteries for it, make sure they are the same exact. 2500, like 3.7 milliamps. Hydrains actually are the best, that I have found inside of it. They have to be the same. And the reason why we say marry the batteries, and especially with a mech mod and inside of that, is they drain all at the same time, and then they also charge all at the same time. That way they have the same life cycle, so you're not getting an output from a battery that is like, oh, this one's fully charged inside, but this one's not. Because then it fucks with a mech mod, and it'll actually kill your other batteries, and which can cause a battery to explode, catch on fire, damage itself, short out, all that. 4 brand new batteries. Make sure they're nice, high drain, high regulated. And it doesn't matter which really amp, 2500, 3000s, 3500s. I've even seen 4500s put inside of there. Which, I mean, it doesn't really matter with like 4500s or... I mean, the best that I've put in there has been anywhere from 2500s to 3000s for the milliamps. The battery life is amazing on it no matter what anyways. So, make sure you vary your batteries and they're all the same. Do not put like a 2500, 3500, and a 3000 inside of it. Do not mix them like that. You will fuck your batteries up. Because it runs off of voltage. It doesn't run off of watts or amps or any of that. It runs straight off the voltage of the battery. So you want married batteries. Only use this product with a battery purchased from Vapor Clouds. That's just still yet again them saying, oh, buy our batteries, buy our products, which you don't need to. See, don't use this product without the batteries not being properly maintained. Yes, very much so, because it is metal. Inside is plastic. It's a mech mod. It's just straight, you hit that button and all wires and all batteries fire. So at any point in time that you might even have a tear in your battery and nicking the insulator at the top of the battery, anything, you could end up hurting yourself. A lot. Do not use it unless you maintain your shit. Do not leave the product with the batteries in the device when not using it. I wouldn't suggest it, but, I mean, I have, because I have 4 brand new batteries in there that are maybe like a week old. I mean, it just sitting around really isn't going to do much unless you're banging the thing around. Like me, this is my desk mod. Like, I get home, that's my desk mod. Sometimes I take it on the go with me, but it's my desk mod. It's my everyday vapor. Period. That thing is that badass. By using the product, you agree to take on your own on any related risks that are involved or of consequence of use. That's kind of given. You burn your hand or blow your damn hand off because you want to be an idiot and put 4 different types of batteries inside of it, well, that's your own fucking fault. And the weird one that's on here, do not use this product in any sexual nature. Why would you take this anyways, being as high-powered as this is, and use it in any sexual nature? You're an idiot if you do. You're fucking stupid. Do not leave the product unattended. By all fucking means, do not leave it unattended if you are in a household of like kids or anybody that do not know what they're doing with a vape product, because they could hurt themselves. This thing has got a lot of power. Don't. Do not use this product for any intention besides using it for vaping purposes. Well, I mean, that's kind of common sense. I mean, I wouldn't use it for anything else either. Do not use any resistance of 0.5 ohms or lower on the device. Back in the day, that was true. Because back in the day, when you were building your coils, you could put your coils as low as literally 0.1 ohms and rock it all day long. But the way coils and all that are now, I have mine sitting with 2 coils inside of it, and it's sitting at literally 0.3 ohms. Each one of my coils is about almost 0.6 ohms, which I make my own coils, and I only make, like, I don't only make, but I make, I got aliens inside of here, which they're 0.6 ohms. So obviously if you're running in parallel on a mod anyways, or on a tank, it's going to half the ohm anyway. So you're technically sitting at that 0.5. So as long as you have, say, a dual coil RDA that's sitting at like even 0.2 something, 0.23, 0.24, 0.3 ohms, you're fine. As long as you can handle that hit, because it's going to fire fast and it's going to hit hard, you're fine. Just make sure that you juice it up quite a bit more, because it's going to hit hard. So, must understand the Ohm's laws before use. Yes. Understand your Ohm's law. Your Ohm's law. If you don't know what Ohm's law and understand it, I'm not even going to get into that right now, because, I mean, it's kind of a big topic. Go look it up. Do a little bit of research on the Ohm's law of the batteries and mods and stuff like that. That way you kind of understand. I mean, there's not really much to it, because once you comprehend it, like, oh, this mod does this on the type of wiring. This is the resistance it can handle, because it's not a regulated mod, but it still does have a resistance that before it'll blow up, basically. So, and then with the type of batteries you put in it, all the ohms, the voltage, the wattages, the coils for the ohms, and research your Ohm's law. That way you don't hurt yourself. User must understand the Ohm's law before using this product. Yeah. Only before vapor clouds, atomizers with protruding 510 connections, 1.5 millimeter or greater with a device. Which I have noticed, actually. Like my cabron, I don't have to get in there and adjust the pin that's in there. It does have an adjustable 510 pin, which I do have to adjust it if I put the Buddha on there. It's protruding, but it's not really protruding. So if you got one that actually has a protruding 510, you really don't have to mess with it. You can just slap it on there, and she's good to go. Sometimes you might have to, screw the pin up or down a little bit. But if you don't know what you're doing with that, don't fuck it. Fuck with it. Just find a RDA that's got a protruding 510 thread, which most of all of them kind of do anymore, honestly. Because most people want the big-ass RDAs like Valhallas and shit like that anymore. So, yeah. But anyways, only use vapor cloud atomizers. Don't have to. Do not use product if it is hot to the touch. Yeah, if your hammer of God actually gets not really hot, because mine gets warm because, I mean, it's in your hand, because, like, your fucking hand wraps around it, like, but if it gets weirdly warm, pop your batteries out, because something's not right. And especially if it's too hot to the touch. Like, if you can't touch it, yeah, pop the damn batteries out, because that thing will probably blow up in your hand. Use proper maintenance and cleaning of the contact points. Yes, constantly. Clean the pin that's on the outside, and if you can, get inside. Do not fucking put water or anything liquid on the inside at all, because then you gotta wait for it to dry. It's wires. It's a mech mod. Just don't fucking do it. But get yourself like a paper towel and kind of dust around in there, like you're almost just destined to get shit out of there. Clean the threading. Yeah, do not use product if you're not confident of vaping safety. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, don't fucking use it. That's just the whole damn point. Do not use it broken. Yeah, don't use it if it's broken. Do not use with broken batteries. I mean, it's kind of common sense with all this shit on here now. The Hammer of God V3 is a parallel series connecting and fires at 8.4 volts when using the Hammer of God V3. Follow the battery orientation marked on the bottom of the holders. Positive connections go to the top of the battery. Slid side label, blah, 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 blah. Just tells you how to fucking put them in there. Okay. It fires at 8.4 volts. No matter fucking what. It doesn't matter. 8.4 volts all fucking day. Because it doesn't run off wattage, variable wattage, heat, any of that. It just runs at 8.4 volts. Which is why it's actually good to get high regulated batteries and high drain batteries. Because the high drains, people are like, oh, well, they drain faster. No, they don't. If you know what you're doing and you actually know how to use shit instead of just slapping batteries in just because, oh, I got a brand new battery, they don't drain faster. Like, they just drain highly. It's called why they're called high drain batteries. I mean, kind of a big difference. It is a very technical thing. It's literally just a giant metal box. Okay. Got a little tab there. Just pops open. Here's your 4 batteries. Okay. Which all 4 of these batteries are the same. They're all 2500 milliamp. They've all been charged at the same time and drained at the same time. They're married. Now, the inside here, that's the pain in the ass part because they don't really mark it positive. So it's going to be positive battery, positive battery. Other side, negative, negative. And the reason why it does that is because it runs in parallel, but also in series. So the reason why the battery lasts so long in this is because basically what it does is it'll be like, oh, battery, doop, 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 bouncing from battery to battery. But basically what it does is it'll go down and up, down, like almost going around. It's parallel series. Like it sits there and it'll go basically one of these kind of things just when you're firing, basically. It's kind of hard to explain. But 4 full fucking batteries are inside this beast of a fucking mod. And I have a lot of mods. I have a stubby sitting over here, which dies constantly. I gotta fucking charge a battery for that consistently. Like, I kill that battery constantly. But you put your batteries in, just like I said, positive, positive, negative, negative. And it doesn't matter which way you put this on, because all contact points are made that way on there. That way they all hit the same. But I always end up taking mine and putting, like, that back pin to the back like that, just for the fuck of it. Once your batteries are in there, like, she does take the best squeezing to put her on there. Okay. And that's all it is. That is legitly all she is. Just a regular 510 pin that's up there, which is adjustable. So that's literally just all it is. Like I said, she does have some weight to her. But if you don't know how to use a mech mod, literally out of any mech mod that I would say get to learn how to use a mech mod, I would say like the 1111 Reborn, or a cheap Hammer of God V3. I mean, if you get your hands on 21700 batteries, or you have some 21700 batteries already, go with a V4. They're a little bit bigger, I mean, but still yet. Doesn't really matter. A Hammer of God, like, It'd do you pretty good, actually, for being like even your first mech mod, because you're going to put any RDA on that thing and just rock out. So, and that's just a tiny ass RDA compared to the things we have now. This is an authentic El Cabron, authentic, back in the day El Cabron, which legitly authentic, brand new authentic at that. I found somebody that actually still had one in their store and bought it for, pretty damn cheap, only $5. So, which that's a authentic Buddha too, a fat Buddha. So, but with the way the parallel series runs inside of this, I charge my batteries about every 2 to 2.5 days, depending on what I'm doing through the day. If I'm on the go, I don't really vape much because I'm consistently moving, so I don't have time to stop and actually grab my vape. I mean, I do, just because I don't give a fuck where I'm at. I'm in a vape anyways. But if, I'm not remembering, hey, I got my vape open, I can sit here and vape. I mean, I'm in the middle of doing something, my OCD kicks in, nope, I'm going to sit here and do this first, fuck everything else. So, the battery life on it, you only need 4 batteries. Get yourself 4 batteries and literally just, I'm going to bed for the night, pop them all 4 on there. But you don't have to, because some batteries are still going to probably last you through the next day or even half of the next after that, because I literally only charge mine every 2 days. But still, 4 batteries is all you're going to need. 4 brand new batteries. Slap them inside of there after fully charging them. Slap yourself a good RDA on top, and you're set. No matter what. Just remember when you're building your coils on top that you don't want to go too low in the ohm. Just because, say you go to old school of say 0.1, which you probably could. I don't suggest it because of how fast it hits. Okay, see? One little just... So you go that low, it's going to fire fast as shit, hot as shit, so just... And mine's at 0.23 ohms, actually, I just checked. 0.23 ohms, and just... I can't get a full hit off of this like what I would on a mech mod, or on a regulated mod. On a regulated mod, I could pull about 3 to 3.5, sometimes even a 4-second hit on this cabron. On this, it hits so fast and hard and still produces so much flavor and cloud in a 1.5, 2-second hit, because it pushes that much power. So make sure that you're putting your, if you're making your own coils like I do, that you make different size wraps, that you're prepared for some really massive hard hitting shit. Now the best thing I've ever slapped on top of here for the flavor is because of my buddy Big John. Let me slap a Valhalla on top of it for a minute to try, because I never really gave a shit about the Valhalla. I am going to get one because the flavor was amazing, and to my surprise, out of all the other RDAs I have, that thing has an amazing fucking setup for flavor. That thing just whiffed. I thought the Profile PS and even the Profile PS Dual Mesh had consistent flavor and stayed juiced up quite a bit, which it stays up juiced up longer than what a Valhalla does for the 30mm, depending on how you build your wick and your coils. But the flavor of a Valhalla literally beats anything that I've actually tasted yet. But it also depends on your cotton and your flavor palette. Everybody's different for flavor. But the Valhalla is a beast of a motherfucker on there. Now, for old school authentics, the best one that I've had so far is really a toss-up between the El Cabron and the Fat Buddha. The Fat Buddha chucks like a motherfucker. She just blows clouds and stays juiced up fairly well. But burns the shit out of my coils and cottons pretty quick because of how the deck is on it. 8.4 volts, consistently firing, rated at, technically, if you use a calculator, figure all your wattages, your voltages, your amps, all that shit out. It sits literally, because I did a few tests, it sits at about 295 watts, technically, always firing consistently. It's a lot of fucking watts, but you're not going to get, say, that whole 295 watts, though. That's just kind of like a comparison, hypothetical kind of fucking thing, because it just fires that fast, that hot, that consistent, with no matter which one you put on there. Like inside of here, I've got 2 6-wrap alien coils inside this tiny little fucker. I did put 2 4-wrap coils inside of it, which still set at 0.3 ohms, and that thing was just ridiculously fast firing and burnt the shit right out of the cotton, so I had to make the wraps a little bit bigger. Just because your wraps are bigger doesn't mean they're going to be, the ramp time is going to be slower or it's going to be faster. It just depends on how you cut your leads, how much resistance is on them, how good the wicking is. Because you got to make sure when you're wicking something, and especially putting out a mech mod with this much power, you don't want a hot spot at all. So in the middle of that coil, you want your cotton to be as tight as you can get it in the middle of that coil. You want as much cotton as you can in the middle of that coil. And you want just a little bit of cotton inside your juice well, so the juice is just trickling up, like grabbing some of them little teddies right there, like, you know, little you know, and the juice is just going up. Now, that's not with all tanks, though. This one, it took me a minute on the El Cabron. This is going to be a double review, too. I didn't know if I mentioned that or not. Because this is the El Cabron, which is 22mm, has 3 different kind of drip tips, which I still yet again holler out to my buddy Big John. Like, say, hey, homeboy in town's got actually a couple of authentics and shit. He let me hit on his. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I went and bought one. Loving it. 3 different drip tips, which got this one, a bore that's bigger than this one, and then one that's kind of like a DTL, MTL kind of one. Fuck all that restricted shit on something that's this strong. Yeah, you don't want you don't want to get hit in the chest with a hit every time. This one I just put the plastic tip on because it's a Delrin tip. Because this thing hits hard, and the other one that came with it, the metal tip, gets hot as shit, and well, I didn't want to burn my mouth. So 2 6-wrap alien coils, deep well juice well right here, which is usually about the whole fucking thing right here, which is almost the whole juice well. Not hard to build on. Okay, just like most of the velocity decks, you're gonna put a lead in here. Yeah, you're gonna go lead, and then on the other side, you're still gonna go lead. You know, most people know that it's common, okay? But I found for this one, having to wick it a couple of times because of how small it is and how tight the chimney is. Don't worry too much, like, if you're hitting your cotton here. What you gotta worry about is when you're pulling your chimney off, if you want to drip, don't pull it off fast and hard, that way you don't rip your cotton. But when you're wicking this, make sure in the middle here, it's as tight as you could possibly get it inside of your coil. Like on this side, I don't have a lot of cotton, but enough. And what you do, an easy way with this one is you want a nice amount of cotton, as you can see, to like legitly fill that whole thing. But and what you'll do is say your cotton's still out here, is you want to do like that old fashioned, you want to like take and tuck it, bring it up to the front here and kind of push it underneath of the coil until all of it's in there. Like, don't jam it in there hard, though. Kind of bring it over into the front and kind of slightly just push her on in until it's all in there. Then kind of come over here to the side and kind of like brush stroke her. Same thing on this side. You want to kind of bring her out to the front and push her underneath the coil until she, you know, kind of slightly pushes in. And you want to do that on both sides. That way this whole area right here underneath the coil too is just filled with cotton. Filled with cotton over here, filled with cotton over here. Both sides you want to do that. That way you have, like I said, a lot of cotton all the way through. I generally don't put a lot of cotton inside of my vapes. I always only put enough cotton to make it really, really thick in the middle of the coil throughout the whole coil so there's no hot spots. And just a little bit on the outside, just enough to touch the bottom of the juice wells. Because you'll either choke your RDA off for some of the newer ones or you get a lot of spit back because everything sits on top of the coil. Not with the case of the cabron. The cabron, you want to go thick as shit all the way through the coil, and you still want a lot of cotton coming out the ends and being kind of wrapped around and tucked into the front of the coil up underneath of it and dropped into the juice well. The more cotton that is inside of the cabron, I have found that it actually stays juiced a lot longer and it doesn't burn the shit out of the cotton very fast. Like it does, but it doesn't. Like obviously if it starts to dry out, it's going to burn your damn cotton. That's common sense. So with a cabron testing it with brand new cotton on it, and I mean fully juicing this thing up to where it's almost pouring out, you will get about 6 to maybe 7 full hits before it actually dries out. That's just because it's literally only a 20 millimeter around, kind of like RDA. It's not very big, so you're not going to get very many hits. So it's not like a 40 millimeter Valhalla that's got an 11 millimeter juice well, to where you're probably going to get 30 hits before it fully dries out. This is only 20 or 20, it goes from 20 to 24 millimeters, which still, once all your cotton's in there, you're not going to get a lot of juice in the juice well because your cotton's soaking it up. So you're still only going to get about 7 full hits before it's dry. That's kind of common sense. I mean, it's not a very big juice well, and it's not a very big RDA, so you're not going to get shit tons of hits. That's the main problem from back in the day a lot of us had. We're like, ah, fuck this is just annoying. We don't want to drip constantly like that. Just became a pain in the ass. I still enjoy it. Now, I dabble in everything. Sub-ohms, RTAs, RDAs, RBAs. Still yet, though, out of anything that I've had, RDAs have the most flavor, have the most hit, just because, okay, yeah, an RBA and an RTA, I still build my coils on that, but they tend to get more dry hits than the other ones if you don't fucking build your wicks right. Because it's still sitting inside, technically, a tank like a sub-ohm. So if you don't wick it right, you're going to end up with a hellacious dry spot with a hellacious dry hit. So unlike an RDA, I juice the motherfucker myself. So as long as I pay attention, should never get a dry hit. Ever. But the cabron, I have found for like even airflow on it, you can run a single coil on here actually, because I figured that out. The way your airflows are on here, there's 2 open on that. So that third offset one that's on there is actually for building a single coil, so then you choke off the other 2 holes and only put that one on the one coil, like you turn the airflow on the one coil. Most definitely a good setup. Now, the only thing that sucks is it's an airflow control pin that just sits on the chamber. So if you got a dual coil inside of there, stuff the shit out of it with cotton, I found it's actually got better airflow and a lot better flavor and cloudage if you take your cap off and you take this whole airflow thing off and just let it run full fucking wide open bore. Yeah, you don't get the engraved logo, but you still got this El Cabron and Slick, saying on there. It is what it is. Everybody's different with their flavor. Everybody's different with their airflow. But I would have to say for a mech mod, I would definitely go with, say, like I said, either an 1111 Reborn, a Hammer of God V3, which I actually prefer like this one because I'm going to get more out of the batteries in it anyways, because 1111 Reborn's got a lot of flavor, it's got a lot of like hard-hitting fucking power, but it runs off of one 21700 battery, unlike this running off 4 that I'm going to run for 2 days. And I can fit any damn RDA on here that I want. Honestly, so it is what it is. And that's just from a tiny, which actually just measuring it out, 22 millimeter RDA, running off 8.4 volts with 2 6-wrap alien coils inside of here, just stuffed full of cotton, just hitting like a fucking champ. As you see, I just juiced her up, so there's 3 hits actually altogether, because I already took one before them too, so there's 4, still juiced. There's 5, and you can taste it now a little bit. There's 6. And still juiced. Okay? You see the ends are now starting to dry up. And there's a reason for that because of the way I built it. Stuff that thing with as much cotton as you can. Don't force the cotton in. Like I said, you want to come around to the front with that coil. Like grab your cotton from the side and go whoop around and push it up underneath the coil. Make sure your coil actually sitting up almost to the top of the post. Like the top of your coil is level with the top of the posts on here too. That way you can stuff as much cotton in there as you actually need. The more cotton this thing has that you can fit in there, like the better it stays juiced and hitting. And as you can see, my coils are right at the top flush. Just filled with cotton like I'm a champ. And it is tight getting it down. I do hit my cotton, but just set it on there nice and gentle. Push it on there. Obviously, you're going to have to turn your airflows because you'll either have it on the cotton or you'll have it on the coils. Put it on the coils. You got airflow. And as you can hear, not much of a sound. Okay, so we're at 5. There's 6, and I'm still actually juiced up. 7. That one I could taste the heat on that one a little bit, so we're getting there. That's 8. That one was like a half hit. And as you can see, we're dried out now. So I got 8 full hits off that. So actually about 7.5. And the other coil, actually the other piece of cotton in there, still actually half juiced, weirdly enough. But you don't want to push it though. Because you don't want to burn the other cotton. Because then once you burn your cotton though too, it'll taste like shit. Any juice you put on it, no matter if you slightly burn your cotton at all, it's going to taste like shit. So, we were at 8. Let's try it again. Alright, let's go with a different type of juice then. It's not like a hard hitter. One that's kind of just got... Whew, vaped myself out. That's why we have the fan on in here. We actually had to turn her back on. We'll juice this bitch up though and see how many full hits we get off of kind of like different juices. This is going to be kind of a longer video because we're kind of explaining shit, going over a few things. This is a 0 milligram. Doesn't really hit hard, juices up well. It's really thick juice too, so it doesn't burn as fast on my other coils, but we'll see on here. So, fully juiced up. Set them on the airflows I like. We're going to count. Whew, that one got warm. We're at 3. Oh, running out of breath. Gotta give me a second. We're at 5 though. Whew. This thing hits that hard, like constantly. She's a powerhouse. Six, and it's still juiced up. 7, and that was actually a really good tasting flavor on that one. I don't know why. But I can taste that. Now, 7, still pretty well juiced. So I can get about, which I'm going to take a break. So I'm going to say probably a good 10 hits off that. With that type of juice being a 0 milligram, that cookie butter I have, I'll get a full 10 hits. Easily. Excuse me. Whew. The sweeter your juice is, I've noticed with the cabron too, it burns the cotton quicker. There's a reason why even back in the day, say like Candy Kings or any of them type of juices, we called them coil killers. The sweeter it is, the actually faster it'll actually mess your cotton up. So the faster it'll gunk up your coils. So the sweeter it is, they taste good, but they're not good for your coils. So tread lightly with the sweeter juices. But other than that, that's the Hammer God V3. That's the cabron. Hope you enjoyed. If you like seeing the videos I do of the authentics, like and subscribe. Hit that little bell down there. We've got some others coming up for you actually here soon. We've got a couple more videos. Me and my buddy Big John, we're going to be doing a couple more videos. We got some more actually authentics on the way, and we'll be getting into them more. But like, subscribe, comment on some RDAs too that you might want to see us actually get our hands on just to review. Even if we don't like them, we'll still do them for the review, just for the purpose of you guys, so we could tell you your honest flavor or honest opinions of like flavor, cloudage, all of that. Even if it's complete shit, I'll still mess with it and tell you like, hey, it's complete shit. So like and subscribe, hit that little notification bell. Let me know what you want to see next. Mox Opal out.